Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Homebody. So, when you die, you restart. Back at the beginning, when you walk through the door at 7 o'clock, you can take the time to talk to everybody again, anybody that you missed, which I missed talking to Cliff and Megan, but at the time, Cliff was ignoring me, and I didn't talk to Megan, but I talked to everybody else. So I'm going to go ahead and try to talk to them here, and also try to solve some of the other puzzles that we come across. Anything that we come across, I'll try to solve it. If I can't solve it, then I'll try to find information to solve it. I did beat this game already, so a lot of the puzzles are fresh in my mind. So when I see them, I'm going to try to solve them right then. But I may have to come back for some of the other ones. Just kind of, you know, get more clues to give myself a refresher. Something that I think is pretty interesting is that after you all get killed by the monster, the dialogue options for everybody is pretty much what is happening. I saw you die. Some monster killed you. But when you click on the choices that are, some variation of that, she just says, "Hey, how's it going? How was your day? How's the trip? What's the plan? What's the plan for everything? Oh, it's so awkward. Yeah." And it's just, I think that that's interesting because either that's like her internal dialogue or she's actually trying to say that, but it's coming up as as normal conversation. So this grandfather clock, the time on it says 10:30, but the time current is 8:35. So I think what it is that that might be showing when the monster is gonna come, because every time that you solve a puzzle correctly, the monster will essentially come quicker. Like they'll show up like faster and faster as the night progresses. So, just as a reminder, once you solve a puzzle or once you find like different clues and things like that in and around the house, it will save it in the corner for your memory bank. But the only thing is that sometimes it seems like it glitches out. And even though I'm like finding new clues that should technically show up in the memory bank, it doesn't. But I had some incidences where there was like a glitch of sorts. At one point, when I hid in the closet in this room, um, she walked fully into the closet and I could move around, like I could run my character around, but I could not leave. And I think it was because I was in the process of about to talk to Francine, who can wander into this room sometimes. And when I was talking with her, I was also close proximity to the door. So instead of talking to her, I just opened the door, but that glitched me out. So I had to go back to the main menu, which restarts the night. So anytime you leave to the main menu, that restarts the night. And then you can like go ahead and just start doing everything that you did before over again. So, something just to consider is that the more that you solve and resolve these puzzles every time that you die, if you get killed by the monster, if you get electrocuted, or if you take your chances in the steam tunnels and you get killed by a miscalculation and you run into a room where steam vents into it, the puzzles will eventually start showing as like solved. Like, the code to go into the cellar is 278. 278 will permanently be on the keypad, so you won't need to type it in. 733 opens the door in the basement. Eventually, that will also be permanently on. The only thing that you would have to solve would be the valves where you put the different correlations in, but those are the only ones that seem to be holding where you have to do them over again, where you have to solve them over again. So in the side room where the monster came up in the elevator, unfortunately we won't be able to get into the elevator because the gate permanently locks, I think, behind the monster. But there's just kind of three things in this room that can be helpful. First, in giving us an idea of who Parker Nest is, and then two things that might help us solve puzzles later. This blueprint for something called the accumulator, and then the synthesizer in the corner, which is tied with the locker in the basement. That noise that you heard when you press the button on the locker, this is the place where you're going to go and sort of like try to replicate that sound. The locker gives you an idea of what it is with the bottom knobs, but the top ones, it doesn't tell you how to do it, so you're gonna have to kind of like experiment by pressing the buttons. But the more you press the buttons, the more noise you're going to make. And like I just had, the monster came upstairs because they heard the noise from the synthesizer, which is attached to speakers. So you'll have to find a way to distract them or wait until they're at like a different part of the house, like the cellar or something, where they won't be able to hear it. That's what I was talking about earlier about a glitch. This time, instead of me being able to walk around inside the closet as if I was like walking around in a room, the killer just kind of hung out there until I opened the door and tried to leave. When before, if I hid in the closet while the killer is walking around, they'll open the closet door and actually stab me. But this time around, they ran into the room. They did not look around. They just kind of stood there blocking the way. So, yeah, I think that one was a glitch. I don't think that was supposed to be the case. I think it was supposed to run up, see that nobody is there, and then, like, look around a little bit and then leave. So, something that I think is pretty interesting is that as you're progressing in the game and as you talk to the people multiple times, their dialogue trees kind of like branch out. And so they'll start referencing things from the past that had happened, past experiences, and just generally moving away from the kind of awkward conversation that we had at the very beginning of the game. But eventually, all of the conversations will come to an end and they'll kind of like just repeat things over again because you're asking them questions about something particular that you have to solve. Like for Megan, she's the person that you would talk to about the Purd mystery games that she's playing. For Gary, you would talk to him about the steam tunnels. The first beginning, like in the first episode, one of the first puzzles was a page torn out of a book, and you would talk to Francine about it. For Cliff, you would talk with him about electronics, like the power conduit in the living room. You would talk to him about how to solve it. So, yeah, like, I think that that's pretty interesting that we are, in order to solve certain things, you may have to talk with people in order to do so. For this puzzle that I'm about to do, you're basically just moving, trying to get all of the chords to match with each other. So plus to plus, minus to minus, and then, getting those power conduits to go, like the wires to line up to go up to the ceiling so that it can power things. It's gonna take a little bit of time and a lot of trial and error, and you may die a couple of times before you actually figure out how to solve it, but don't be afraid to actively look for guides on how to solve some of the more difficult puzzles, because I had to do it for this one because I think that I was getting it, but I was like basically maybe turning one of the nodes a little bit too much. We're getting close to the end of the video, so I just want to go ahead and say thank you so much for joining us. We're going to try to unravel the mystery of why we're trapped here, and hopefully we can find some answers while we solve puzzles along the way. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.